It's day 4 of Buddha's boot camp. Back on the cushion again. I hope that you're finding this workable so far and that you're able to follow this journey from the base of our spines all the way up to the crown of our spines. Again, while we're sitting, it's not so much that we're focusing on the chakras. We're just using them as like a GPS, a guidance system as we move through this week together. Our sits, as you're probably coming to find, are challenging in their simplicity. They're challenging in their lack of complexity. We are focusing on our breath as a way to train our minds, mastery of our minds. Because the thing is, when you don't have mastery of your mind, which most of us do not, you find yourself feeling ways you'd rather you didn't feel. This could be angry, this could be anxious, stressed, it could be any number of things. And we like to blame external people, external circumstances, and situations for these feelings. But what meditation is trying to teach us is that you are, in fact, the master of your domain, which is your being. So this is a practice that, even though it may seem boring or painful or awkward or frustrating, whatever you might be experiencing, if those are any of the things, it's helpful to have the big picture in mind, that each time you wrangle or lasso your mind back to your breath, you are moving towards mastery of your mind. And they're baby steps. This is not a fast practice where you sit a couple of weeks or even just this 1 week and you experience monumental change. The change comes incrementally, but you'll see how it shows up. And then we take the time right after the sit, very potent time when you've just been working to keep your mind focused and present, to be present with some questions that may help illuminate what I like to call dark spaces in my inner landscape or dark spaces in my life. And by dark, I don't mean bad or evil. I just mean things that maybe I'm not focusing on or giving attention and energy to. So speaking of energy, the day's focus is Anahata Chakra, and this is your heart chakra. So Anahata in Sanskrit, heart is what we often call it in English, and some people call it your fourth chakra. What I find interesting about this chakra, this energy center, is that it's considered the bridge center between the bottom 3 and the top 3. So far, we've been through the bottom 3. Your root, that's the base of your pelvis, your pelvic floor. The second chakra, sacral chakra, that one is in the vicinity of your pelvis. Third chakra is solar plexus. That one is what we did yesterday. And so here we are at the bridge between lower and upper. Your heart center is associated with things like, probably most obviously, love and compassion, but also things like tolerance and forgiveness. And sometimes those come a little harder. So, today's journal and free write gives us an opportunity to explore some of the qualities of our hearts. This is the air element, and that makes focusing on your breathing pretty easy. Not to say it's easy because we're in the air element, but easy to connect the why. Focus on breath in the air element. In particular, we're focusing on the depth of your inhalation, this intake of breath, intake of prana. As a secondary focal point, I've been trying to give you a secondary focal point for those times when you start to feel maybe even agitated with just the simplicity and subtlety of focusing on your breath. So on the first day, we focused on the contact points between your legs and that which is beneath you. The second day, I offered the option to do a little tide, like a tidal rhythmic flow of your pelvis forward and back until you can come back. Third day, we looked at or experienced the sensation of your diaphragm dropping and rising. And today, as our secondary focal point for when you find yourself distracted, we'll focus on the sensation of this 360-degree expansion of your heart center. So we think of your heart being on the front, but there's also the sides of your heart and the back of your heart, as well as the top and the bottom of your heart. So as you breathe in and out, explore the sensation of that 360-degree expansion and contraction, as if you were pulsating the qualities of your heart out into the world. So let's sit. If you're not already on your cushion, please climb aboard. Place your palms down on your thighs. If you've found another position that's more workable for you, please slide into that. Eyes either closed or downturned and soft gaze. And we'll start out with a slightly grosser sensation of that 360-degree expansion and contraction. So bring awareness to how on an inhale, your chest, your side ribs, your upper back, the base of your throat, and once again your diaphragm expand. And as you exhale, feel all of those same places contract. Let that be your focus for the next few breaths. And now we'll hone in on a smaller and even subtler sensation, the feeling of breath as it passes through your outer nostrils to your inner nostrils and then back out again. Now, if during the course of this sit, your mind is very agitated, please go back to that awareness of 360-degree expansion and contraction at your heart center. And once you regain focus, shift back again to your breath, right at your nostrils. If your mind has wandered, just guide it back to an awareness of your breath without any chastisement and patience for the process. Remember that any sensations you're experiencing are impermanent. Practice non-reactivity by observing them with neutral awareness and simply return focus to your breath in and out, in and out. Notice if your mind has gotten busy. Invite it back to the simplicity of noticing, breathing in, breathing out. Observe any sensations with neutral awareness. Remember, sensations, like all things, change. Master your mind by staying neutral and simply observe your breath flowing in and out. Please bring your hands together in front of your heart into Anjali Mudra. With this gesture, we indicate our desire to offer the merits of this sit to those whose lives we touch day in and out, and to all beings everywhere. May our efforts be of benefit. Let us also remember, no effort is too small or ever wasted. I invite you now to continue this sit as long as you'd like, or when you feel ready, to shift over to today's journal prompts for some free writing while you're in this extraordinary state of mind.